Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Michaela's World, so you already know. Let me start. No one can control. I used the Palo Santo, so there's none left. But that's neither here nor there. You are not here for that. You are here because I have read yet another book. I'm on it, y'all. I'm on it. Finding the Soul on the Path of Orisha. This book was written in 2003. The lady, Miss Toby, I'm not sure, Melora Correll, I hope I'm saying that correctly. There's not much information on her online, but she was initiated back in 1990. The book was written in 2003, and yes, it's still relevant. It's more relevant probably now than it was then. I say that because spirituality is definitely a wave. I believe that my generation, the millennials, we are definitely picking up on some ancient information because we, of all generations, need it. Because where is this world going? This is a good book. So there we go with review point number 1, which is yes, it is a good book. I think it's a good book for anybody that is like finding their way spiritually. If you are even in the slightest familiar with African spirituality, even though this tradition is practiced all over the globe, Yoruba, Nigeria, this is where this information originates from, and I think she does a good job in this book of giving you a blueprint as to how you should approach this journey. It is not a fad. I repeat, it is not a fad. You see a lot of people walking around with beads on and lighting up candles and whatnot, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you gotta have respect for ancient science. You have to have respect for ancient energy. You have to have respect for the earth. And most of all, which I will repeat later on, what I have known since the beginning of my curiosity when it comes to this path is that good character is like supreme. So this book helps you to remember that this is about a journey within, a journey to the past that springs forward beautiful things in the future if you actually do the work. So yes, it's a good book, but I'm gonna start sticking to my notes because we'll be here all day. Who is it for? Anybody that's interested in spirituality. If you're interested in the Orisha, if you're interested in indigenous or African traditions, alternatives, additives. I do like that the Orisha and the Yoruba tradition of spirituality is something that can be added to your belief system as is, or you can, adopt it solely if you wanted to, or you can mix and match other things. Like, they are not, I have never heard of anyone that is in this tradition or in this life that has said that you have to like denounce anything else to participate and become a part of this path. This book gives you a deeper understanding as to why someone might choose this path, or why it seems to be such a popular thing. I think she does a good job of balancing out what people think it is versus what it really is. And it's work, y'all. It's inner work. The path practically entails you recognizing yourself, you recognizing your ancestors, you recognizing the spiritual and scientific aspect of the Orisha, and then maybe you can go down the path of initiation. But all of these things need to be realized first. Was it an easy read? Absolutely. It was a very easy read. What I can go ahead and let you know is that if there is anything that you are not sure about, she typically lays it out and defines it right there, especially if it's a Yoruba word. And then there's also a glossary in the back, so you ain't got to worry. The text was very personal and invigorating because the author, she makes sure that she kind of like gives these stories about her personal journey, which I can definitely appreciate. She was pretty naked and vulnerable with us. And I think that that's important because that's literally like what you would have to do, is be honest with yourself. You would have to kind of dig up bones and come to some realizations before you can really work with the unknown, the unseen, because otherwise you're gonna get gobbled up in it. This book reiterated the fundamentals of what I understand the Orisha tradition to be, the Yoruba tradition to be, and that is to have good character, first and foremost. Period. Okay. And having an understanding that this is an all-inclusive both an approach to spirituality and religion, because there are rituals. That is the religious part of it, the repetition. Also, it's very ancestor driven. So having a connection to your personal past and to the Orisha, to nature, to the scientific elements of life and the earth, and the mythos of the Orisha is what kind of gives you this connection so that you can heal and use what seems like magic. It is magical, but it's really just science and law broken down in a way that we can understand it. I learned a lot. I definitely enjoyed this book. I'm going to read a quote, and then it's going to be kind of paraphrasing after that, so just know that. Embracing change is tough work because change always walks hand in hand with destruction. That's a direct quote. And now I'm paraphrasing the rest. Resisting draws in more chaos. So when you resist the facts, which is that like everything has to be broken down to be built back up. Birth is not pretty in the sense that it is painful and bloody, and sometimes it's even shitty, but it is necessary for you to become anew. The author does a great job of making sure that we understand that this is not a magical fix. You are not about to enter this tradition and just all of a sudden have, somebody fix you up a bag of herbs and you good to go. Everybody want to be the child of somebody. But what I will say that this book has done is it takes you a step back from wanting to label yourself with these attributes of the Orisha and reminds you that if you're not first a child of God, if you're not first a child of your mama and your daddy, and then the lineage that comes before that, you're not going to do well. And I'm going to say this is like a side note, but this is just me knowing. So how you going to play with stuff you can't see when you ain't dealt with the stuff you can see? Period. It's only through the balance that we get the magical effects of working with the Orisha and steeping our lives in this tradition. The author also speaks of her mother, who was a Buddhist, and she talks about this too philosophy, which means that no matter what it is you see, you encounter, you experience, this too is a part of God. This too is a part of God's plan. It's an all-encompassing idea, and I believe that this too and both and are the same. She talks about having a cool head, and I can say for my godfather, he has definitely spoke to me about this before. Having head feedings or reappeasement, if you understand any of that, then you can kind of understand where there are rituals that will help to balance you and keep you on track if you ain't hard-headed. But it's all about having a balanced mind. And cultivating a spiritual garden. She talks a lot about this as well. For you and your ancestors, you are supposed to be cultivating a relationship of trust, healing through recall, remembering, and atonement. She talks about how to pray and your entire approach to this lifestyle, this spirituality, and this religion. One of the most valuable points of this book is talking about the gifts and curses of our ancestors. We definitely do a lot of talking about our ancestral pain, but there are so many ancestral gifts that we can all see throughout our lives. Like my father always tells me that there are a lot of hairstylists in our family, which I know some of my cousins that are barbers and hairstylists, and it's just a beautiful thing to see how those talents, they run really deep. And if even just your family that's within arm's length, like your immediate family, sometimes you can see those threads running through. And if you are able to do research or you know more about your lineage, you'll probably see some of those same characteristics played throughout. We are just the ancestors' return, and we are here to continue on the work, continue on the healing, so that we may have a brighter future. So we're supposed to be here amplifying these qualities. And while it's important to work through the trauma and work through the pain, that is not the whole part of the story. And she talks about this in depth, embracing the good and the bad and making the adjustments that are needed so that we can grow. Like, who wants to stay in the same place forever? Our ancestors did not go through all of the things that they went through, all of the hardships and just the structures of their time for us to be here in 2021 and still struggling with the same stuff. In conclusion, I would definitely recommend this book pretty much to anybody. If you are on a path of deeper understanding, deeper knowing, wanting to connect to your past, I think that the structure of this tradition would help anybody that is trying to connect, integrate, and be anew. It's a deep concept. I don't know that I'm really giving it its due with the way that I'm explaining it, but I hope it comes across. Long story short, you're going to be questioned throughout your journey of life in general if you are, looking to elevate. And so you'll be wondering about your worth and your self-love and what that looks like and what boundaries look like. And, you want to define your character and be this person that you know that you can be, or at least that you idealize yourself to be. Because I think that there's so many different levels of awareness and understanding that sometimes we have no clue who the hell we want to be. And so that's the trappings of falling into spiritual systems without knowledge of self. But also sometimes going into these systems in search of yourself will help. It will help you to get to some type of conclusion, some type of bottom line. You need to have some discernment, regardless of what you choose. The whole point is that you have a choice. And I think that's very much so illustrated throughout the text as well. She talks about in the mythos, in the text, the oral tradition, in the beginning, you have a choice. You were given a choice. You were given a choice. You were given a destiny that you chose before you got here. Now it can change. You got to remember because you're going to forget. But typically we have a destiny. And I find a lot of comfort in that. So I'm going to leave it there because I feel like I'm going to just start rambling. Long story short, y'all check out the book. I'll leave a link below. If you've read this book, please comment. If you like to read, give me a like. If you like this video, give me a like. Whatever it takes, just give me a like. Not whatever it takes. I wouldn't do whatever. But long story short, I would like a like. I would like a share. I would like to have some if you know anybody that reads books, tell them to call me. Well, don't call me, but find me on Instagram. It'll be linked below. And let's connect because I need support in my reading life. Okay? So anyway, until next time, peace.
Thank you for your support. I really want to grow this channel and keep people interested in reading and analyzing media from our standpoint. So many blessings to you.